Hi everyone, and thank you so much for joining me. If you are new to my channel, I'm Kat and I like to talk about true crime, conspiracies and all sorts of related things. In today's video I want to talk to you about Summer Wells and more specifically the interview with Candus and also the interview with Hunter, and I want to compare the timeline of events according to both of their interviews. But before we get started, here is the disclaimer. Everything that I tell you in today's video is my opinion and information I found online available in the public domain, and I also do not mean any disrespect to anyone I talk about in today's video. Thank you. And with this, I think we can get started. With thanks to Chris McDonough from the Interview Room YouTube channel, who interviewed Candus after he interviewed Hunter, we can now find out a bit more about what happened on June 15th, the day Summer Wells went missing. Candus confirms what Hunter said happened was partially true. However, he twisted a lot of things. So, I guess this is what we are talking about today. According to her, Candus woke Summer up early because they had to take Grandma to Holston Medical Center. And they had to be at the hospital at around 8 AM. So Summer, Candus and Grandma, they all lived together. According to Dawn, Summer was sleeping with him and Candus and she was in bed with them at around 6:30, 7 AM. Dawn then went to work and, as it was mentioned, the boys, Summer's brothers, they stayed home. Now, before we start any rumors about Summer sleeping with both parents and people jumping to conclusions that she was abused or that is suspicious, I just want to say, I don't find that on its own suspicious at all. It's no indication that she was abused, only going by this thing. My 5-year-old sleeps with me and now with both me and my husband due to our own personal circumstances. So no, it's not unusual or suspicious on its own. Okay, but let's carry on. Candus stated she left with Summer and Grandma at the hospital for Grandma's knee, and on that day Candus took Grandma's truck. So, if they had to be at the hospital at 8 AM, they would have left their home around 7:30 AM for the half-an-hour drive to the hospital. At Holston Medical Center, Candus, she waits in the parking lot for Grandma to finish. And in the meantime, Hunter calls her to ask what she's doing and asks her to go over to his house while they are waiting for Grandma. According to Hunter, he says Candus was the one who called him and texted him and he offered for her to go over to his house. Both Candus and Hunter state this had to be agreed with Ellie, Hunter's mom. And Ellie agreed, but not for long, as her mom was supposed to go over to the house for a visit. So, you see, putting together Hunter and Candus' statements, a lot of things are turning out to be contradictions. The question is, who's lying and who's telling the truth? Candus goes over to Hunter's house to pick him up, and according to Ellie, it's only a 5 minutes drive from Holston to their house. Ellie also states they arrived around 10:30 AM. If we are to say that this was the time Candus arrived at Hunter's house, there is a 2-hour gap from 8 AM, the time of Grandma's appointment, to the time they went to Ellie's house. However, Candus and Hunter, they are both not so good with times as they even mention. In his interview, Hunter said Summer changed into a swimsuit at his house. However, Candus says Summer actually put on her swimsuit at their house on Ben Hill Road before they even went to Holston Medical Center. This is what she said, and I quote, "I put her bathing suit on before we left home because it was really hot out that day. It was just something small and thin, not so hot because I know she gets too hot," end of quote. Which to me, it makes a lot of sense rather than Summer changing at someone else's house, if you ask me. And if Summer had something on her to cover the bottom part of the swimsuit, no one could tell it was really a swimsuit she was wearing. That's exactly what we did with our own daughter when it was so hot outside. She was wearing outside the swimsuit and on top of the swimsuit just a pair of shorts. So to me this makes much more sense than what Hunter is saying. But Hunter said on top of her bathing suit, Summer was wearing a pink or purple tank top and a pair of shorts. But then if we are to say that this swimsuit was actually a 2-piece swimsuit, then what Hunter is saying makes more sense in terms of what she was wearing on top of the swimsuit. Candus remembered that on that day they were around 80 degrees Fahrenheit, 26 degrees Celsius. I don't know what to make of that. By the looks of the video, Summer swimming, the swimsuit would have been enough without a tank top on if it's a one-piece swimsuit, unless Hunter was not sure what he saw in terms of the top that she was wearing. So, going back to the interview with Chris, Chris is asking Candus if the air conditioning was on, because if you remember in the last video of Summer, she was wearing a long sleeve top and trousers as well. Candus also mentioned she knew it would be hot out, so that's why Summer had a swimsuit on, so she wears something thin. Candus said she doesn't really like air conditioning. So if Candus said that she doesn't like air conditioning, that means Summer was in a hot truck wearing a long sleeve top and trousers with the windows rolled up, according to Candus, right? Candus also said even if there would be 100 degrees Fahrenheit outside, Summer would still ask for the window to be rolled up because she would feel cold. I find this kind of odd, if I'm honest, and that would bring another kind of possibility into play here. Perhaps she was left in a hot car for some time, but I'm not really seeing enough time, as you'll see later on, and that would mean that she was left on her own in the car for a very long time. So they leave Hunter's house with Hunter to pick up Grandma from the hospital. From the medical center, Candus said that she went straight to the tobacco store, then to the hippie house, then they dropped off the prescription at Walgreens, then they went to Warriors Park, then to Sonic's, then the priceless discount store, then they dropped Hunter home. Candus says that Hunter was telling the truth. However, the times and places and the order was kind of twisted up. Candus states, and I quote, "That's exactly in that order. It's not how I remember it, it's how it was. It's the truth. I was driving, I knew where I was going," end of quote. Now, according to Hunter, Hunter said in his interview that they went from the hospital straight to Walgreens to drop off the prescription, then headed back to the tobacco store. Now, my own way of thinking this through when planning to go somewhere, or if I need to go in different places in the same day, the way Candus is saying it makes sense, and a lot more sense than Hunter. You usually do go to different places in a certain order, so you don't have to go back and forth, right? It makes sense. You can have a look at this route. All the locations are numbered in the order Summer, Candus and Hunter went to, and then later on Grandma as well. You will see that all the places they go to are in distance order. From the medical center, they go to the tobacco store, then the hippie house, they then drop off the prescription, they go to the Warriors Park, then Sonic, then Priceless, and then drop Hunter home. So you see that the way that Candus is describing the order of the places they've been to makes a lot more sense in terms of the route. But let's carry on with something else now. Candus said she bought the twisted tea for Grandma. Hunter said he asked for the tea. Candus also mentioned Hunter didn't ask her for anything, but she did buy him a Mountain Dew. From the medical center to the tobacco discount store is around 11 minutes drive. From the tobacco store, Candus says she went straight to the hippie house and she bought 3 nicotine vapes, the puff bars. Hunter stated he got one of the nicotine vapes from Candus, but Candus says he asked for one, but she didn't know if he actually took one because she placed all 3 of them on the console in the vehicle. According to Candus, from the hippie house they drove to Walgreens to drop off the prescription, which was about 3 minutes drive from the hippie house, which again makes sense. At the drive-thru, Hunter stated in his interview that Candus received a call from Don and said about the guy at the property stalking small kids. Hunter thought the phone call was part of his daily checkup, as Dawn usually calls every 2 hours to check on Candus and the kids. In her interview, Candus said she did receive a phone call from Dawn, but it was just to ask how was everyone and how soon they'll get home. Candus also said what Hunter mentioned about a guy on the property was BS. From Walgreens, they head to Warriors Park, which is around 10 minutes drive. When they got there, Candus said She got out first to open the double door to the truck and let Hunter and Summer out first. She also said Summer was in the middle seat and Hunter at one of the end seats. Remember, in his interview, Hunter said Grandma stayed in the truck to load minutes on her phone. Candus said as soon as Summer was out of the truck, she wanted to go to the water, but she told Summer she'll have to wait while Candus grabbed some stuff. Candus says that once she grabbed her stuff, Hunter went off into the woods. They split off. Now, if you ask me, this right here is where Hunter's timeline of events falls apart. At this point, I find it hard to believe Hunter, and you'll probably ask why. Because Candus says he goes off into the woods. Remember, now Hunter is 15 years old. He wanted to get out of the house. What if actually Candus is telling the truth and she didn't give him a puff bar? What if he took it from her car without anyone seeing and he headed into the woods to smoke it? He's 15. Maybe his mom doesn't know he smokes. Maybe that's why he wanted to go with Candus in the first place, because he knew Candus is a smoker. So he probably just wanted to sneak out of the house and smoke behind his mom's back. I'm not saying that this is the case, however, it sounds plausible. Now going back to what Candus said. Summer went in front of her and headed towards the water. Candus followed behind and Grandma behind Candus. Candus helped her mom to go down the water by walking slow and letting her mom use her shoulder for support. Now Grandma, she has a knee brace. She's just come from the hospital. Hunter doesn't say anything about the walk in the woods. He says as soon as they got there, they got out, headed to the water and shared the nicotine vapes, and he also had the twisted tea. So you see, it makes more sense to me that Hunter is possibly lying. He doesn't remember any details of how they got to the water. How did Grandma manage to get to the water with her bad knee? How was Summer like when she saw where they were going to? None of these details. He is extremely vague. Apart from this, from my point of view and my opinion, I think he is also getting the route wrong. This tells me that he didn't pay that much attention to what was going on around him. Come on. Seriously, he's a teenager. Probably whilst driving with Candus, Summer and Grandma, he was on his phone looking at TikToks. Honestly, this is what teenagers do nowadays. I'm sure you can relate if you have a teenager around. Then Candus took the TikTok video timestamped at 12:21. Chris also asked Candus about Summer going underwater. Candus says she doesn't know about it, but if Summer did go underwater, it was just quick under and then back up. Summer usually likes to dip her head in and she comes right back up. She also says, and I quote, "Where does this idea of under that water? I have no idea where that came from. That just blew my mind when I heard that. When she went in the water, I literally was taking the TikTok video." Okay, so before I go any further, I'm just going to clear this up right now. I want to add something else here. I know that a lot of YouTubers and people online, they put a lot of emphasis on the timestamps on the videos. But do you ask yourself, what if the timestamp of when the videos were recorded is not the same as when they were published on TikTok? You can in fact upload a video recorded on your phone and save it as draft, and you can publish it at a different time or a different date really. So from my point of view, the timestamps on these videos are not reliable to the timeline on their own. Hunter talked in his interview about Summer going underwater. He said he threw his shirt down and went into the water to see if she was okay. He was even spooked by it. He called her name, but didn't know if Summer heard him because she was underwater. He then said he pulled her up, threw her over his shoulder and asked if she was okay, and Summer said she was okay and she was just swimming. Another thing here about Hunter and his version of events, he says that he threw his shirt off and he went into the water. He was quite spooked by it, right? But if you look at that video of Summer swimming, she was not underwater in the video, and also you can see in the video when Hunter took his shirt off, he was not panicked. He went happily in the water and splashed about with Summer, playing together. Even when he was out of the water in the video without his shirt on, he seemed just as happy. So, my question here is, at which point was Hunter in the water, panicked, without his shirt off? This is again another conflict. Ellie, in her interview, came up with Summer sleeping on a rock. And Candus addressed that by saying there were no rocks around. But Ellie said Summer slid off a rock and fell under the water. Now, about the rocks, I was really curious about this situation with the rocks. But I came across a video. I wasn't looking for it. I was just scrolling by on Candus's Facebook profile and the videos and photos of Summer. And I watched a few videos on Facebook from Candus's account. But there was a video in particular where Summer was at the waterfall. I'm not sure what place it was, but she climbed on the rocks and she slid because they were wet. She didn't fall in the water in the video, but she slipped on the rocks. We also know that Candus and Ellie have something going on between them, something that happened previously. I'm not so sure what it is, but what if Ellison made up the sleeping on the rock? Maybe she saw Summer's video with the waterfall. Ellie was there anyway in the same video at the same waterfall, and it just popped into her mind and she said that either to create the story extraordinary or to get back at Candus, perhaps. I honestly don't know, but I kind of got this thing playing in my mind since I saw that video on Facebook. It seemed like something just clicked, you know. After learning about what Ellie said in her interview, and then I saw that video on Facebook, and then it hit me. Okay, so please let me know what you think about that in the comments below. If that could be the case with Ellie and sleeping on the rock of Summer. Now, according to Candus and Hunter, they stayed at the swimming hole for around 20 minutes. Then they headed to Walgreens to pick up the prescription. When they left the swimming hole, Hunter said in his interview Summer changed. They bought her an outfit because she was supposed to go to Jonesboro to a water park. Yes, Jonesboro is about half an hour drive from there. And there is a water park, but Hunter mentions it and then he talks about the Friday. So again, confusing, even more discrepancies. Apparently, the outfit Summer got changed into was supposed to be worn on her first day of school. So, I just wanted to put this out there because as far as we know, it was supposed to be for the first day of school. Anyway, going back to the timeline. So, from Walgreens, after picking up the prescription, they head to Sonic, which is about 3 minutes drive away. And they have some slushies. After picking up the slushies, they head to Priceless store, about a 10 minutes drive away. According to Candus, they were in the store for around 5 minutes. They only took milk, cheese and something else, but Candus doesn't remember. The 5 minutes only spent in the store, I think that Candus is kind of downplaying this. Honestly, either that or it was her perception that they only stayed for 5 minutes. But come on, if you think about it, parking the car, going from the car park to the store, buying everything they need, coming out, unpacking, staying at the checkout, at the tills to pay for the shopping. It can't really be only 5 minutes unless you are a rocket, in my opinion. Or maybe that Candus said that because she was panicking or she was scared in the interview, because let's remember, by the time Chris interviewed her, she already knew the public's opinion on her and Dawn. She knew people will be analyzing every single word she says. Hunter said Candice and Grandma stayed in the store for an hour and he stayed with Summer in the car. While in the vehicle, Hunter said he didn't notice anything unusual about Summer. Now, There's the whole conversation about the groceries and where the milk bottles were in the vehicle. Apparently, the groceries were in the back of the truck, but Hunter was holding the milk bottles on his lap in the back seat. Then when Hunter gets off, when they reach his house, he puts the bottles next to Summer. Candus says that Summer was wide awake when they got to Hunter's house. Hunter says he doesn't remember. Candus tells Hunter, and I quote, "Hunter, you're not coming to the house, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're going back to your house." End of quote. So this would mean Hunter didn't want to go back home, yet Candus sends him back home. And then I'm wondering, what if this is the reason Hunter is spicing up the story, so to speak? He's maybe angry at Candus for not taking him to her house. There are some rumors that Hunter allegedly said he wanted to get out of the house because of his grandma. She was due to go over to their place. He didn't want to be there because she was annoying, or something like that. Can this be the case? Why Hunter is saying what he's saying? Because Candus didn't allow him to go to her house? Candus then drops Hunter off. But she also mentions that Allison never went to the truck to check on Summer or walked to Candus, even though she tried to get Ellie over to talk to her. Ellie said she went to the truck and she wanted to give Summer a hug, but Summer was sleeping. She also said she tried talking to Candus, but Candus just wanted to get back home with the groceries. And the windows were up and she couldn't even talk to Summer. Again, here we have more conflicting information. Ellie said they arrived at her house around 2:30 p.m. Hunter said he got out of the vehicle, grabbed a vape from Candus and went into the house. Around 40 minutes later, the last video of Summer was taken, time-stamped at 3:09 p.m. Again, I need to highlight this. The timestamp is when the video was published, not necessarily when it was recorded. At this point, we are only at he said, she said step of this case. So, according to Candus, Summer, she fell asleep on their way home. She said, just 2 minutes before getting home, Summer's arms went down. Candus described what the video was about. She asked Grandma what Summer was doing, and Grandma said Summer fell asleep. Candus then described Summer had her arms up behind her head, like this, something like this, and she looked a lot like Don when he was sleeping, so she wanted to capture the moment. She then told Grandma to take a picture, but Grandma got it wrong and took a video instead. By the time they did the video, Summer's arms were down. You see, in a way, if you think about it, in a sense, on its own, it does make sense what Candus is saying and the reason for the video. How many of us are trying to capture, these kind of moments, the funny moments with the kids, awkward moments, all these kind of little things. It makes more sense than the rumors being spread that Summer was dead in the video. Honestly, if you ask me, why would someone, you need to think about this logically, right? Why would someone take a video of that and post it online if that would be the case? Let's think here for a bit. It can always be deleted, For Candus to have published that video, it would mean she would have to check it. But she wanted Grandma to take a photo, right? But Grandma got it wrong, which to me suggests that Candus did indeed see the video before publishing it, which could also mean the video might not have been taken at 3:09 p.m. And with this, I want to clear something else up. So again, I am referring to stuff being spread around online. I mean, if you watched my latest videos, all I'm doing in those videos is trying to debunk rumors going on online. So, a lot of people are saying that Candus took a photo. But according to her, it was the video Grandma took. It was supposed to be a photo, but it turned out a video, okay? So, the photo circulating online is not originally a photo. It was a screenshot from the video itself, snapped by someone who probably just wanted to check more details out. So now we got that cleared. Now, another thing is, when you take a screenshot from a video, paused or not, you lose clarity. There are so many factors here, from the quality of the camera used to the app used to enhance the screenshot after being taken. Basically, a screenshot from a video is of the poorest quality. And the more you zoom in, the more pixelated it becomes and it loses even more quality. And because of the digital noise and pixelating, you start seeing something in the photo which was not even there to begin with. You don't need to take my word for it. You can ask whoever professional photographer or editor you find, and they will tell you the same. Anyway, we need to get back to the timeline. So, Candus, Summer and Grandma arrived at the house on Ben Hill Road after 3 p.m. The video being allegedly taken at 3:09 p.m. She unlocks the gate. Candus unlocks the gate, goes up the driveway. She wakes Summer up and unbuckles her, gets her out of the car, then goes in and calls the boys to help with the groceries. She said the boys were inside at the table watching TV. Again, for people finding something suspicious about the fact that she says one time that the boys were watching TV, then they were playing games, I'm not seeing anything suspicious about this, you know. The kids could have watched TV, could have played games, whatever they did something in the house. They're in the house doing something, either watching TV or playing some games. It doesn't really matter exactly what they were doing. We can't just pick on every single detail and say suspicious, when even you as a parent probably don't even remember what your kids do every single minute of the day. Now, Candus also says, and I quote, "They were all locked in. Nobody could get in and nobody could get out." That kind of thing. End of quote. So after they got the groceries in, Grandma took her groceries to the trailer and Summer and Candus were both sorting their groceries. Summer had to put them away. Candus also mentions that she did the laundry as well. She said that there was loads to do. Candus then said she saw Grandma sitting on her doorstep looking around, and so Candus asked what the problem was, and Grandma said they have to transfer the plants into bigger pots. Candus knew the boys won't help with planting the flowers, so she went in and she got Summer to help. It took them, according to Candus, around 50 minutes to get the plants sorted out. After they finished, they went in Grandma's trailer to wash their hands. So here I'm getting a bit of clarification from my previous video. It wasn't clear to me in my previous video where exactly did they wash their hands. But I don't honestly entirely believe it took 50 minutes to transfer some plants. I think that's an exaggeration in my opinion. Summer then asked Grandma for candy and Grandma gave Summer candy. They sat there for about 5 minutes, then Summer asked to see her brother. Candus said she watched Summer go in the door. She said from the kitchen door. She told the boys to watch Summer and she'll be right back. So then Candus, she went back after she saw Summer going in the house. According to Candus, she went back to the trailer to help Grandma with her knee brace, and she says it only took about around 2 to 5 minutes. When she finished, she said she walked back into the house, asked the boys where Summer was, and they said she went downstairs to the basement to play with her toys. Candus then called out to Summer and she didn't answer. She then looked everywhere, ran downstairs, she couldn't find her anywhere, and she was just gone. She said she can't remember if the door was locked or unlocked. Candus said she then went outside the basement door and looked around to see if maybe Summer was sitting outside, as she did that previously, or if maybe she ran around to her swing, but she wasn't there. Candus then said she sent the boys down near the creek to look for Summer. She then freaked out and called Dawn and said, and I quote, "I cannot find Summer, come home now." End of quote. Dawn then told her to call the police. She threw down her phone down into Dawn's pickup truck, ran into Grandma's house and picked up her phone and called 911. She didn't want to wait for the police to arrive, so she went into her own vehicle and drove around. She didn't see any cars or anyone, so she freaked out. Now, I'm a bit confused here. Why did Candus throw her phone in Dawn's pickup truck and then ran to the trailer to call from Grandma's phone? I don't get it. This doesn't make any sense to me. I've read some things online, and some people were saying that she didn't have a signal on her phone, and that's why she used Grandma's phone. But then
I'm questioning that as well, because if she wouldn't have a signal on her phone, then she wouldn't be able to call Dawn to say Summer is gone missing. So I'm a bit confused here. This is not very clear to me. And the way this is being said, it doesn't really make any sense. In that interview with Chris, Candus also said, and I quote, "I can't even enjoy life without my kids. You might as well just rip my chest out and throw it out there for the fish to eat, because it's worthless without her. I try to be strong for my boys. I try to have hope." End of quote. Candus's interview, after Hunter's interview with Chris, changed my view on a few things. It's possible that Hunter lied about the story. It seems more likely that's the case, in my opinion. There are a few points that Candus makes which make more sense than Hunter, such as the route, the puff bars being on the console, him going off into the woods, and others. But I don't really want to get more into it. I just want to find out more first before I actually get into it. The same goes with Allison. She and Candus had some stuff happening in between them, allegedly. And maybe Allison wants to get back at Candus. I have no idea. We also know from Chris's interview with Dawn that some guy, according to Dawn, was working for him, and he was using drugs, and Dawn fired him. So maybe the man got pissed off at Dawn for letting him go, and he went on the property that day. By different sources, there were workers on the Wells property that day as well. But honestly, there are so many things which are very, very hard to verify, so at this point it's just speculation. For now, all we have are contradictions, hearsay, he said, she said, and so on. But from what we publicly know, there's not much confirmed out there. At the end of it, we still don't know what happened to Summer Wells that day. We still don't know where Summer Wells is. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Stay safe and take care. I will see you in my next video. And please, before you go, I'm just going to put a poster up with the Amber Alert for Summer Wells and with all the contact details and what she was last seen wearing. Please take a couple of seconds to check the poster out, and just please share this video and like the video so it reaches more and more people. Maybe someone knows something about Summer Wells, and maybe we can help find out what actually happened with Summer. I also have a playlist with all the videos I did on Summer Wells case. I will leave the link for the playlist in the description below. For now, thank you again so much for watching. Just hold on for a couple of seconds so you can see the poster as well. Bye!